Good morning, day 2 of our Direttissima attempt. Just broke down camp. Just showed you the thermometer. Right now it's like 33 degrees. So I'm glad I didn't go up to higher elevation because it was already pretty cold and miserable breaking down camp, and it would have been even that much worse if it was a few degrees colder. So it was definitely a little uncomfortable night of sleep. Just the combination of the cold and me having all wet stuff when I got in the tent, which made my sleeping bag very damp. Lots of dreams of hot showers and turning the car heater on. I mean, where's my subconscious? I must have been cold. Even with 2 layers of wool socks, and usually I don't have an issue if my feet are cold just putting on a pair of socks, and my feet still just couldn't get warm. I think it was just the overall dampness of the bag and just the rainy conditions. So hopefully we get a little sun today. There are some blue skies up there along with clouds. So I think we'll definitely see some sun down here, but I'm hoping up at the higher elevations the sun pokes through and I can dry out my tent and sleeping bag either on the way or wherever camp ends up being tonight. Unless I make it to the shelter, probably be camping on the snow is my best guess. So it's around 7 in the morning. Took me over an hour just to break down camp. First night breaking down camp of the year. Don't really have all the routines in yet. And just, the tent poles were slightly frozen, all that good stuff. The hands are frozen. Putting the wet socks back on, the wet trail runners. So getting used to all that fun stuff again. But we'll have the backpack packed up in the next 10-15 minutes, and hopefully we'll be making our way across 112 and up the ridge no later than 7:30. All right, we've been climbing for about an hour from Route 112 up the Kinsman Ridge Trail, taking our first break for a little breakfast. We're about 2,500 feet. We're in the clouds up here. It's very wet and damp. Hopefully at some point we'll break through this and maybe get some sun. What's up? Little update. It's almost noon. We're almost at Gordon Pond, probably a half mile away. We've been just going through a lot of rotten snow for the past mile or so, going down to Gordon Pond. Then we're going to make our way up to Mount Wolf on the other side, and hopefully we can make it to the shelter. At the pace we're going, it's going to be close. The skies haven't really cleared up too much, so I don't want to get stuck in any rain. So we'll keep plugging along and we'll see where we land. But really slow going right now. Just really rotten snow. Was able to switch the snowshoes off once or twice, but then I've just had them on for a good half hour now continuously with only a couple of dry sections. So that's where we're at. Day 2 recap. Super challenging day today. Definitely have those spring snow conditions. So the first mile or so up Kinsman Ridge from 112 was great. It was actual trail, no sign of snow or ice. Then it changed over where I could still bare boot most of it. There was some patches of snow, but I didn't even throw on the micro spikes because it wasn't really icy. And it was just not a monorail, but wasn't really post-holing. At some point, I guess around mile 3 or so, as you head up to Mount Wolf from 112, the snow really was everywhere. Threw on the snowshoes, and even going up for the most part wasn't too bad. Did lose the trail here and there and had to re-find it. But then the really tough part was coming down from Mount Wolf. Just super unconsolidated snow, post-holing in even with snowshoes. In fact, one of my snowshoes got kind of twisted on the way out, so that it's ruined. It's still workable, I can still use it, but it won't be good for next winter. So yeah, just really sloppy spring snow conditions. It's like 40 degrees when I set the tent up. Probably a mile from the Real Brook Trail junction. I was hoping to make it to the Eliza Brook shelter, but it just wasn't happening in these conditions. And the sun was, not that the sun was out much, but it is starting to get colder as the ambient sun goes away. So I wanted to get a tent set up. I'm camped on snow. Wasn't able to dry anything out, so the sleeping bag is still very damp. Everything is damp. But we're just gonna warm up with a hot chocolate. Honestly, I'm pretty beat just from plowing through that snow. I'm gonna force myself to eat something and lay down. So hopefully tomorrow we'll get some sun and we'll be able to make some progress. It might even be a super short day. I might even hang out at the shelter for a day, the Eliza Brook one, which is probably only about 2-3 miles from here, and try and dry things out and be fresh to go up and over the Kinsmans. But we'll see. I did have internet at some point, and it looks like there's a really bad rainstorm with wind coming in Sunday night. So that's going to impact things for me, and it looks like it's going to be heavy rain Monday morning into the afternoon. But Sunday night just looks really bad with winds and rain, so I don't want to be high up for that. The only other thing I'm dealing with, not a major issue, and hopefully I can figure it out, is I signed up for Audible for the audiobooks, and for whatever reason, I downloaded some stuff and it's not letting me play it. I think I just may have like a faulty dongle, although it works for my podcast and music. So I'm going to replace that out and see if that fixes it. Otherwise, I don't know what the issue is there, but it's a bummer when I wanted to put a book on and I wasn't able to. But little things. The main thing is just the snow and being wet and a little bit cold. So we're going to keep warming up, and we'll see you in the morning.